Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. I'm so excited because we have with us today Nick Metta from Studio Legale Metta. And he is an Italian attorney who has lived both in America and in Italy, has done business in both places, has bought properties in both places. He deals with residency, he deals with Italian property purchases and everything having to do with that. He deals with residency, immigration, so many things. He's really a one-stop shop. So I'm just more than over the moon to introduce you to Nick Metta. So stay tuned. You had mentioned that you are out and about and there's a curfew happening. What exactly is happening in Puglia right now as far as lockdowns go? And what color level are you at this point?
Okay. Yeah. We a couple of weeks ago came out of orange. That now there is in Italy, as you said, there's a color type of grade. So there's yellow, orange, and red. And yellow is pretty good. So there's just the basic national restriction provisions that apply, and orange there are some extra restrictions on top of it, and red is pretty much locked down, almost the same as we had experienced in March and April. Now Puglia went back from orange to yellow, so basically everything works and everything is fine except for restaurants and bars can only do takeout after 6 p.m. Which might not sound like a big deal, but in Italy, and especially southern Italy, that's basically cuts completely out all aperitivo before dinner and all dinner, because you don't go to dinner at 6 in Italy, right? You go to dinner at 8:30, 9:30 p.m. So by closing everything, or let's say closing the sitting in and eating inside at 6, basically only restaurants and businesses that can take any advantage out of takeout will be open, which not everyone can afford to pay employees just based on takeout. So yeah, and then at 10 p.m. everything needs to be shut down, and you cannot even walk or drive unless you have a specific good reason for that, which is work, family needs, or other essential urgent needs. So yeah, right now it's 9:20 where I am p.m. So if this takes more than 40 minutes, I might be stopped in the street by the police, and I will have to explain that I was working
Wow.
late.
Well, they can call me.
Yeah.
They can call me and I'll,
Yes,
I'll vouch for
exactly.
you.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow,
Exactly.
yeah. And Calabria just recently came out into the yellow zone as well, but I didn't realize you had those lockdowns still in the evening. I really, really pray for those businesses because it's been rough on those
It's
guys.
sad. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
rough, it's sad. And yeah. So hopefully, as you said, I'm sure that we will come out of this, and we'll appreciate more what we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any idea, and I don't know if you do or not, but Americans, we're just dying to get back over to Italy, and I get every day, questions, when can we go? When can we go? I don't know. I thought we would have been here by now, but do you have any idea or any sort of predict on that?
Where if I answer as the citizen, I'll say, I don't know, really, probably, I guess, uh, June, perhaps May, June. As a lawyer, I can tell you, well, you can go pretty much any time almost. We have been helping people travel from the US, traveling to Italy since March. There are a bunch of exceptions. So depending on what situation is, we have been able to bring to Italy every single person who contacted us. You need to put together certain paperwork, but unless you want to go to Italy for just as a tourist to visit museums that are shut down and closed, if you have a home in Italy, or if you have a family situation, or if you have any sort of business or even potential business, you can go to Italy. And to give you an example, there was a client who was so desperate to go to Italy, pretty much like similar people who have shared with you their feelings. And I told her, well, listen, if it is so important to you, and you are, because she was almost crying on the phone with me, because if it is so important for you, obviously it's affecting your feelings and your mood. If you get a medical letter, a doctor note saying that this is affecting your mood and potentially putting you, throwing you into depression, and it's unhealthy, and you need to go to Italy for for medical reasons. And we managed to bring her. She managed to get a doctor note about that, and she was able to go to Italy.
Oh, wow.
So this is one of the examples, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend whose mother is in her 90s, and she hasn't been able to get over there, and she's just dying to. So maybe I'll have her get in touch with you.
Well, yeah. Well, 90 is pretty extreme too.
Yeah.
It's not like 72. So
right.
It's 90s is definitely yeah. Family needs are definitely one of the exceptions that apply when it comes to making exceptions to the COVID restrictions. Definitely, yeah.
Okay, well, what about people who want to go look for properties? I mean, that's really mostly who is contacting us going, can we go over if we're going to look for a home or going to start the process on a home? How does that work?
If it is just to look for homes, it might get tricky there, because we would have to look at the specific. If it is something that if you have had already concrete and documented engagement with local realtors, and there is already a list, an exchange of intent, like letter of intent of some sort on the price and an agreement, that might be considered business. So there might be an opportunity to go to Italy based on business trip, basically, almost.
Okay, good. Now, another question, since we're on this subject, this is a very hot subject with our guys. I heard or read that the airport agents have basically the last word in whether or not they let you in. Is that right, or how does that work? Because one of the reasons we haven't gone,
it is extremely hard. So what we have experienced is this: the Italian government, from March to the end of October, has struggled, as any other government, any other country, has struggled keeping up with how the pandemic was unfolding and evolving, because it's been so unpredictable. So they have been issuing updates and new rules and regulations and new forms, new exceptions and restrictions every couple of weeks. Sometimes after 3 days, they would issue new forms and new rules. So we as a law firm always refer to the official bills that are published in the official gazette. That's the way in Italy laws are become official, when they are published in the official gazette.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah. So we refer to that, and we get the most recent form and whatever. However, we've had many clients who called us from the airport very frantically. They are telling us, this is an old form, this is not a good form, this is not the form. Well, Italy is not able to supply the updated forms every 2-3 days to all the airports in the world. So what happens? The representatives at the airport representatives are trained by supervisors or whomever authority at their airport, but they don't get a chance to be trained about Italy and any other country which has similar restrictions. Only in Europe there were 28 now, without the UK 27, but only for Europe there are 27 countries with each their own form. So can you imagine keeping up with new forms every week, like from around the world? So what happened? Our recommendation was just be patient, be calm, stay calm. You will see that there are slight differences. We will be on call. And unfortunately, some clients although they were very persistent and they didn't give up, they missed that flight. So they had to leave on the next flight, which sometimes it was the day after. So they slept in the airport or went back home when they could. They went back and they were able to fly back to Italy. And sometimes they didn't get a direct, so they had a stopover in Germany or France, and they were stopped there, and they sometimes missed a connection there. So it is not easy. I'm not saying that it is easy, even if you have all the possible paperwork in order and everything. It's just the airport representatives. My personal experience, I traveled on August 31st, if I remember correctly, and they questioned my wife because she is not a dual citizen and she only had the American passport, and they questioned our marriage certificate. They wanted a translation, which I had obviously, but they were extremely strict, and they saw me very, very calm, but they were sweating. They were so agitated. I said, listen, sir, I understand you think that you have everything in order, but I need to put all possible checks on my boxes because people have been fired already. And they're only either fired or let go or furloughed because already the airport is at such a limited capacity. They had to let like 70% of us at home. Now, of the very few who are privileged to work, if you do something wrong, you are out, you're fired.
Okay.
So they don't want that type of responsibility either. So it's easier to say, no, I'm sorry, than to let you go on the airplane and then being perhaps reprimanded. So
I see.
Sorry for a long story and an answer, but it is not easy.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, we're planning to go in May. Pete's got his EU citizenship, and we have business over there. We'll have a letter, but we may have you on the phone if we run into trouble.
Definitely. Yeah,
so we'll let you
pleasure.
know. So basically, notice to any of our guys is, look, if you really want to get to Italy and you really want to buy your property or look for your property, contact Nick and his crew and get everything in order and be ready. Flying now is a bit of a thing. I was flying, to and from Aruba a couple of times, and there was constant testing and quarantines. Oh, that's another thing. If we go over there, there's a quarantine now, isn't there? Like a 14-day quarantine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. However, that is changing. For some countries, they are allowing skipping the quarantine if you are tested before leaving. So it really depends on when you travel, the rules that will be at that point, the rules that will be enforced at that point. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's what they did in Aruba. They tested beforehand, and then when I got there, I had to test, and you had to quarantine.
And there is also another catch, which is weird, but if you had to travel for work, for instance, you of course obviously will go to Italy for work. You have a business. You have this beautiful channel. So there will be plenty of documents to substantiate that exception. If you were planning to be there for a short term, like 5 days or so, you would not need to go through quarantine because obviously it's for business. So, you get tested and you can go on with your business. Otherwise,
okay.
It wouldn't make any sense to do 14 days quarantine and business. There's no room. There's no time for quarantine where you go for business. That's kind of the rule.
Okay, that's great. This is really good information because there's been so many questions about it, and basically I go, I don't know, it changes every hour just about. So
it is. Yeah, we had to come up with a specific service. We call it COVID travel package because it's really a full set of activities and documents that we put together. It's really a package at this point. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant because I know, we've hesitated because we didn't want to arrive in Rome and then be turned back. I had a friend who actually ended up in a jail in, where was it? Somewhere in Ireland, like Dublin or something like that. And then they put her in jail until she could get on a flight back. I'm like, oh my God.
That's ridiculous.
I do not want that. So I've never heard of that in Italy, but that did happen. So that's really good information. So anybody that wants to travel to Italy, definitely should just contact you to find out, A, if it's possible, and B, how to do it. and how to do it safely. I'm sure you guys are very, very looking at the safety protocols and everything else that's required. So let's touch a little bit on some of the questions that my guys had. I wanted to keep it as general and high level as possible so that everybody can benefit from it other than just one or two people. So the first thing is there's a little question about what documents people need and the apostille process. So I know when I got my Codice Fiscale, for instance, that it's in my maiden name. So now if I buy something over there, I have to have my marriage certificate, which is weird, but that seemed to be what was required. So for the purchase process, do they need marriage certificates? What all documents do they need? And if you list them down, we'll put a little list of them as you're talking.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, this is something very basic, but also very, very important to get straight at the beginning. Codice Fiscale's Italian tax number is the result of a combination of last name, first name, and date and place of birth. And obviously, if you go by your maiden name versus your marital name or spouse's name, it changes, right? So most notaries who we have been working with want consistency between the passport and the tax number or tax code. So the way to do that, you just, with your passport, you apply for the tax code and that's it. However, some consulates, Italian consulates, if you apply through the consulates, will ask you for a copy of your birth certificate and will issue the tax code based on your birth name, which creates a number of issues and annoying extra formalities when you have to go through the property purchase, obviously. Because the notary will not be able to match your name to on your passport to your Codice Fiscale, to your tax code. And the notary has a duty for, in compliance with anti-money laundering regulations and so many other norms and rules, he has to make sure, she has to make sure that you are who you are saying you are. And the system will not allow the notary to enter your information if the tax number does not match your name on your passport. So my firm's recommendation, which we have always had success over the past 20 plus years, is to do your tax number, Italian tax number, tax code based on the name on your passport. Like that's the rule of thumb that we adopt. And if really you if it is extremely important or you don't have the time to do that because the consulate you work with issue the tax code in your birth name, then what our recommendation is to ask the notary on title to refer to you with both names.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, formerly known as, or maiden name and or married name and so forth. Also referred to as to such and such. So that also helps.
Okay.
The other little tip is, if the consulate is stubborn and absolutely insists about issuing the tax code into your maiden name, then when you go to Italy, you can always ask for a replacement and showing your passport. Say, this was issued on my birthday of my birth name, but I also like a tax number in my name as per the passport, and they will issue another tax code, and they will match and refer them to the same person. They in their system, they will have basically almost a dual tax code, which is something that very, very few people know. So we don't even have it on our website. So there you go. You are the first one who is able to publish something like this, I think.
Okay.
A dual tax code.
So it's
so basically on the tax code certificate, there will be two tax numbers for the same person.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know because I have people running around trying to translate their marriage certificates and get apostilles and the whole nine yards. So
Oh,
that's
yeah, that's a lot of trouble, you know. So really, it is so much easy. It's so easy. You can find services online that offer the option to get a tax number on your behalf for as low as even less than $100,
oh
$100.
wow, wow.
So
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, good. That helps a lot. So that's pretty much what they need to start out with, right? On that. Okay.
I would say that that's really the basic. So the sooner this, and it might take up to 3 to 4 weeks if you go through the consulate and the consulate is busy for other things. It might take 3 to 4 weeks. Some consulates are very efficient, and I've seen consulates issuing tax code within just a few days and exclusively via email, and even just based on your concerns. Some consulates are very efficient, whereas others will keep you waiting for weeks. And if that is the case, if you have somebody in Italy who can just do a quick run to the tax office, they might be able to apply on your behalf.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really good to know. That brings up another question that we're running into, and this was something that Pete and I were looking at ourselves because we're looking at residency and we wanted to be over there for longer than 3 months. The consulates are supremely backlogged, and I've heard just crazy, years-long backlogs in residencies and things like that. Is there any sort of way to go around all of the backlogs for the consulate, specifically with regards to residency? The Codice Fiscale sounds like it's pretty easy, but what about, the elective residence visa, which is something that we're looking at and a lot of my other guys are looking at? Is that something that there's a quicker way to get around than just trying to get down to the consulate in San Francisco, which is always closed?
Yeah. So here is another tip or some other information I will share with you. We haven't even published it yet because it's so new, and really very, very few people know about this. So consulates had this rule that you had to book the appointment online, and it was a nightmare because for a number of reasons. The slots available will just disappear almost instantaneously because there are people who hoard them, So because of the pandemic, they have reduced their in-person appointments to a bare minimum. There was also an issue of an issue with a certain point government orders to shut down all visas, and especially elective residence visas. However, right now, although you cannot find a way to book appointments online, they will still take applications, but they will not schedule appointments. As an exceptional option, never seen before, frankly, in my career, they are going to accept applications for elective residence visa via mail. So you file the application and send it in. However, so this is exclusive for savvy travelers. So seriously. So and we work with many clients nowadays. One specifically who is going to mail it tomorrow, probably the application in San Francisco. And we work with all consulates in the U.S. obviously, but there's this guy we're working with who had the appointment scheduled for the beginning of December. Consulate canceled it and said, okay, you can just send it in. Just make sure that the signature on the application is notarized, because obviously when you go in person, the consulate representative will identify you, verify your identity, and have you sign the application before him or her. So lacking that opportunity, they ask that your identity is verified by somebody who is entitled or has the authority to do so, who in the US will be a notary. So that is one of the requirements. The other thing that I strongly recommend is you are going to, if you mail it in, you're not going to have the opportunity of experiencing the usual pre-check. So how does it work when you apply for an elective residence visa or any visa really? You go to the consulate, and the representative at the the teller there, the little window where they receive the applications, goes through a very superficial initial check of documents, just to make sure that you have all the documents that you are expected to bring in. They will not review the documents. They will not review the merit, because that's not their role.
Okay.
Their role is just receive the documents and check you in, basically. Then there is the processing, behind closed doors, and then you get some feedback. But really the acceptance, not the approval or denial, the acceptance stage, you're going to miss that. So you need to make absolutely sure that everything is in order. And why is that so important? Because clients tell me, and here's not for bragging really, but just for sharing and helping people who are watching, people contact us after having gone to the consulate in person, tell us, Nick, it was amazing. I saw people one after the other being bounced back, turned over, sent home, because this was not right. This was not in order. This was missing. And after 4 people, I had already lost all my hopes. And, oh man, these people here either don't want to work at the consulate, or I don't know, it's really hard. And they have on the website of the San Francisco Consulate of Italy, they have a sentence: the Italian Elective Residency Visa is the hardest visa to get. It's the toughest because there are so many rules and it's so hard to get. So just make sure to do your homework very, very thoroughly before you mail in the application, because at that point they have to go through approval denial. They will not, send it back. They might actually, if it is totally, there might be 2 scenarios. If it is totally off, they might send it back, including your check, saying, this is completely off, redo it. And they will not even retain your consular charges. If there is something off that can be corrected, they will give you 10 days to correct it. Otherwise, they will have to issue a denial. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. But obviously, you can. I'm sure you have a service where you can make sure everything's in order, so that we can get that all mailed in and go. Is that something you offer?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, absolutely. We have an entire department working on elective residence visas, and so yeah. And the process, like some of the one of the main challenges is housing. Now, obviously, you don't have any problem there, but many people tell me, Nick, how can I demonstrate to the consulate that I have housing if I haven't purchased a home yet and I don't have a lease? And also, how can I go to Italy, check a place, lease the place, and then what if I don't get the visa, right? And then I've signed on a lease agreement, and so yeah, that's a legitimate question. And the visa process is a serious business. It is important to go into it understanding that there is an element of risk. We have a 100% success rate, but there is an element of risk. And we have a 100% success rate because we screen the files before even taking them. We tell the client, yes, you qualify, or I'm sorry, you don't, and which extremely rarely happens. And I frankly cannot remember when we told a client that they didn't. But in order to get a lease agreement and provide evidence of housing, you might have to get a lease agreement without going to Italy, just based on pictures and perhaps a WhatsApp video call through the apartment. And after all, at the end of the day, even if you go to Italy and change housing, that's totally allowed. You don't have to go in the same place that you have indicated in a visa application that it will be your home. Absolutely not. They just want to see that you are covered in the event of needs and that you have proper housing. Then if you want to go rather on an Airbnb for 2-3 weeks until you take care of your until you scout the area and look for yourself with your own eyes, the proper place, you can always do that.
That's fabulous. That is fabulous. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. Oh, by the way, we do have an Airbnb over there. So if you want to go over and stay for 2 or 3 weeks, please contact us. So it's a little plug for us, but that's really good to know. That actually makes me really happy. And I just love that you're a one-stop shop. Like we go, Pete and I have all these issues, which we've discussed with you. And in fact, we probably have to set up another consult for some other things. But it's so nice that we can just go to you and go, okay, what about this, 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 and this? And it's all covered. It's just really, really wonderful.
Yeah, basically, everywhere people start, usually they end up circling through all the areas of practice like touch. The only one that is kind of optional is citizenship. Sometimes it's left out. But if people are moving to Italy or want to stay longer, there's some immigration component. And then there is the purchase. So there's real estate. And then there is the estate planning. Like, what do I do with that? How do I incorporate that in my US will? And how does it work when I pass? And then if eventually somebody passes, we can work on making sure that the US family members can easily process the inheritance claim and become owners and liquidate the estate. So it's really, everything is pretty connected. And we started with real estate, mainly, I would say, the international practice, but then we extended and expanded the areas of practice as per the demand. And so yes, as you said, we have several departments, and depending on what people need, we have different people helping, but we work all together as a team.
So that is great, because we wanted to stay longer than 3 months this year because we really need to get some stuff done over there. So we'll probably be contacting you before too long to maybe see if we can get that elective residence visa at least started, so we can be there and really run our business the way it really needs to be run. So that's great.
Perfect. Yeah, and now, right now, there are amazing tax advantages too. If you decide to establish your residency in Italy. There used to be one of the main worries or concerns of people moving to Italy was taxes, because notoriously Italian taxes are rather high. Italian tax brackets are very high compared to US tax brackets, and but now they have established incredible incentives for people who move to Italy and who have never been Italian residents before, or at least have not been Italian residents for the past couple of tax years. And there are very interesting incentives also to establish business. So if you guys established your business in Italy, there will be super low taxation for the first years, as low as 5% for a number of years. And so it's really interesting right now to under even a tax point of view.
That is really good to know, because that is an issue. We don't, I was worried about the wealth tax and the various other income taxes and things like that. But that's good to know. We do have our business over there now, and we will be incurring more taxes as soon as our second B&B is up and running. So we'll definitely get that going as well. But that's good to know, because a lot of people have questions on that. Once again, guys, Nick is a PhD in Italian tax law. So that is very impressive, because Italian tax law is not simple by any means. It's very complex, and you really need somebody who knows everything about it. So that's fantastic.